Hey guys, William here, aka Big Bastard, hailing from the second moon of CYBERTON. Now, sorry about the kind of setup, but I do like this. It looks kind of cool to me. I mean, that's just my opinion. This will not be a recurring thing though, and I do have the backdrop that I'm going to do for when I do the other videos that I've been talking about, so that I'm not dealing with the shitty Chrome cam backgrounds that mess everything up. It is a bit more simple. It'll just be a straight up green screen backdrop, and maybe I'll figure out how to do something with it, maybe not, but at least it will detract from the shittiness that is my room. For now though, I am going to talk to you about, remember I had mentioned that I would be doing Transformer reviews. This is not a review, but what we are doing here is I'm going to tell you how I got into Transformers collecting, why it's been kind of fairly recent, not really recent, but fairly recent, and pretty much the reason why I want to go over some of the collectibles that I have that people will probably be like, well, why didn't you do this when you first got it? And I'll be like, this is why. Okay, so, I mean, and college does have a lot to do with it, but because a lot of times when I just get something, I'm not really thinking, oh, I need to go and throw this on YouTube, when that would be a perfect opportunity, because people love their unboxing videos. Yes, you can actually see my Sentinel here, and we'll be talking about him, doing a review of him at some point in time. And dark and all, yes, but I see you can tell who it is, and we will actually be discussing him later, not now. Anyhow, and it's just something that with life being all hectic in that, and college and that, I just never got around to. But there is a reason why I'm getting into it now, and I'll explain some of that forthwith. So as for why I got into Transformers collecting, and I'm also going to explain why I don't actually partake much in the other toy lines that I love so much. There's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, there's G.I. Joe, there's Masters of the Universe, and generally I don't really take part in collecting these. I'm more dedicated to my Transformers collection, and part of the reason for that is because when I was little, and my family's been low income pretty much all of our lives. Things are better now than they used to be, much better in a lot of ways, but we're still low income. So when I was little, everybody was getting all these cool figures, and I would never be able to really get those. And when we did get a cool figure, it was a treat. My first Transformer was actually Red Alert, and that was not given to me by my parents. That was given to me by a friend of mine for my birthday. And back then I was young, naive, impressionable, and stupid. And there was this kid at school, and he had these Indiana Jones Choose Your Own Adventure books. I really loved the Choose Your Own Adventure books. And I talked to you, like, can I borrow those? And he's like, no, I really can't do that, but I'll trade you. And I'm like, well, I'm not sure what I got to trade. And he kind of went with this, kind of went with that. But they fixed on the Red Alert. And he kind of handed on that. And I was like, well, I don't know, And I was just kind of naive and stupid. And this kid, man, this kid was a real bastard, a real piece of work. He would stick tacks in people's seats. He was just a really malevolent bastard, and I don't even know why I was friends with him, but back then I was really generous and outgoing to everybody. But one time he had actually stuck a tack in my seat, and I had the bad habit of going into my seat with my first leg being folded up under me, and my knee hit that tack, and then of course I'm just like, ouch, and how could you? Now I would have been like, you little bastard, I'm gonna kill you. And yes, I probably shouldn't say that word in the face of Optimus Prime, but be that as it is. And I went ahead and I made the trade. Now, of course, my friend who had given it to me was pretty pissed off, because that's a deluxe figure, and they cost quite a bit, obviously, and even back then it was a fairly expensive figure for a lot of people. And I don't remember. I want to say I did get it back from him, but I don't really remember how that went. But yeah, I just really loved that Red Alert, even though I traded him. It was really stupid. But yes, I did love the Red Alert. Now, as far as my parents, they would get me a lot of the mini bots, and one of my fondest memories is Christmas opening up my gift, and it was actually the mini bot Gears, the G1, and I loved that. And I had Cliff Jumper, which I really loved. And when I was younger, when I was a little older than that, we were in California, and my dad was doing EMT certification in Los Angeles, and we went to go to LA so he could finish out the certification, and because there was some sort of graduation procedure or something, I don't remember. And before we went to a Kmart, and my mom got us like Whoppers, and we could pick a little toy, and I ended up getting pipes, and I really loved the pipes. Other than that, I had Swindle, which I really loved that Swindle. I think some neighbor kid stole it, which pisses me off. I think some neighbor kid also stole a Sauron I had, which pisses me off. And I had the one that we now call Skytread. And back then it was, you'd have these two figures, and you pressed them together and they popped up into a robot. They weren't the two. You had the tank and you had the jet. They look very similar to what Skytread is, and like Skytread, each one did not individually transform into a robot, but then you put them together and they pop up into whatever the name of that one was, but I call them Skytread because that's obviously what I know them as by now. And I do actually have a Skytread figure. I was so giggly when I got that. It's you're kind of disappointed when you're not able to do the pop-up thing, but it's still a cool figure. So, obviously, Transformers has inspired my youth. There were a lot of figures that I did cherish that weren't Transformers. I had a Luke and Hoth gear. I had a C-3PO with the one where you could pull apart the arms and legs. I really love my Star Wars figures. Loved what Masters of the Universe figures I could get. There were a lot of figures I did love, but Transformers was pretty much my perennial childhood favorite. So getting older, you see a lot of these lines come out, and for me, they just didn't. A lot of these lines didn't do anything because it wasn't the Transformers of my youth. They were doing these new crazy things with figures, and it's not always a bad thing when they do new crazy things, but when it separates it so far from what the G1 version was, a lot of us older fans that was there for when these first came out, we don't like that. We want our... It's not that we're asking you to bring out the exact same figure over and over again, but we want you to pay homage to the spirit of that classic. And so, for the longest time, I actually didn't even touch Transformers because I did not like what they was coming out with. Now, Combiner Wars came out, and I had a... actually, I can show you what and this won't blur this time, thank goodness. But I had this Thundercracker, which I'll be discussing him in one of my reviews, and I really loved it because I had always wanted a Seeker, wasn't able to get any of the Seekers, and that that I just showed you is actually my first Seeker. I found it at Walmart when they was doing the Classics line, and I really wanted it, and my mom went ahead and got it for me for a birthday gift because my birthday was coming up about that time. And so that's got to be one of my first Transformers I've seriously collected. But even after that, there was a gap because Combiner Wars came out, and I got initially excited about the idea that you could combine all these figures, but then they only let you combine what to me was the stupidest figures. So, for example, yeah, you can combine Prime and the Autobots. You can combine this and that. Okay, but you know, I'm thinking in terms of cool. Okay, so I'm thinking like you could combine anything, right? And I find out that Megatron's not even a combiner. I'm like, what the hell? You know, to me, something cool would be if you had Megatron combining with the Seekers and Shockwave. I mean, seriously, dude, that would be so awesome. I'm not talking Shockwave like the little small dude that turns into a gun for a combiner. No, I'm talking like Shockwave's a big part of. If he's not the torso, then he's maybe like with the Devastator here, he's like the headpiece or something. And that would be really cool. And I was excited by that idea. And when I found out that didn't happen, like Thundercracker, if I recall correctly, Thundercracker isn't even a combiner in that. So I was kind of depressed about that. And I just overlooked the Combiner War saga entirely. And I feel kind of bad about that because there are some good figures in that. But I just wasn't into it. Well, then time passes, and I started hearing about the Titans Returns line, and they had a lot of figures that I really wanted, and I have a lot of Titans Returns figure because I was excited about that line. That's pretty much when I started seriously collecting into the Transformer toys, and Hasbro would progress and push the envelope with a lot of these creations, I began to get more and more excited about being a collector. And, you know, it's not like I have a big income to spend on these. A lot of what I get is gifts, and that which I do have to get, for myself, I have to carefully plan that purchase out, because I don't have a lot of money to just collect these awesome figures. But I try to keep it up as well as I can, and I love it. I love collecting Transformers now because they've done a lot of great things. This doesn't mean Hasbro's completely guiltless, because they have dropped the ball a lot of times. And I will be talking about one of my other figures when I do a review on him, Scorponok, because I just did not want a Scorponok figure. This is one of the things I was talking about earlier. I absolutely didn't want to touch a Scorponok figure until the War for Cybertron one came out, because the Earthrise one, because they just sucked. You know, first of all, most of them weren't Titans. Hardly any of them were Titans. I don't think any of them were Titans. Then they just looked so gacky compared to his Headmaster version, which I really love the Headmaster version. So I'm like, no. And then I heard about the this new Titan Scorponok for the Earthrise, and I was like, I have to have that, and I did get it, and I'm very happy about it, and you will see that when I do the video review on that. So a lot, you know, I didn't really show you guys much of these when I was getting them, but then I started thinking, number one, there's things I can address, like with the Expanse jet that I talked about earlier. There's transforming it from the jet back into the robot mode, or I'm sorry, from the robot mode into the jet really, really sucks. And I have found almost no videos showing you how to do that. because that's what I was looking for, because I was having such issues transforming them. And I can show you guys that, be like, well, here's the issue, da 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 da, and hopefully get more people to see that this is actually, well, it's difficult to transform, it is actually a decent transformation once you get the hang of it. But yeah, you have to fight for it. And I want to bring in some kind of new ideas and new concepts that some people don't talk about, because they're not thinking about, a lot of times you get a review and just someone's taking their new toy, they're showing you, they're explaining the pros, they're explaining the cons. Sometimes they may do comparisons, but they're not looking at some things that I'm looking at with the evolution of my collection that I'm hoping will be unique and a new dynamic for people to enjoy, particularly if they watch my videos and they've been Transformer fans and not realize that I had the capacity to do these videos. So that's pretty much how I got into Transformers. I'm going to do another Transformers video very shortly here. Usually I don't promise it, but this, I'm telling you, this is coming either tomorrow or next day. And it's going to be about a serious issue that really pisses me off in the realm of Transformers collecting. It's not actually scalping, though I will probably address that at some point in time. It is definitely not scalping for the moment. But anyhow, so this cool head is a Snapchat thing. It's run through the OBS camera. I probably won't be doing a lot of this unless you request it. I mean, if you want me to do all my Transformer reviews that don't actually involve manipulation, because the problem with these kind of things is obviously once you go in front of the face, and it's kind of hard to get back, and you have to kind of sit still and not shift around, because if you go out of focus with your camera, then boom, face is gone. I feel kind of like a headmaster though after that. Anyhow, so this is this is Optimus Prime, hoping you enjoyed this video, and I am signing out. See you on the next one. You guys have a good night.